Hey everyone, welcome back and welcome to another reading. This will be your general read for October 2023 for those of you who have a Pisces sun, moon, or rising. And if you don't have one of those placements and it's the title or the thumbnail that drew you to this read, I encourage you to stick around. The fact is we all have every sign or each sign in a different house of ours. For example, as in Aries, Pisces is in my 12th house. If you're a Taurus, Pisces is in your 11th house. If you're a Gemini, it's in your 10th house. So there is something that you can take from this reading and apply it into that particular house. I would say just look up what each of the houses represent to see how this reading may apply to your life and how the topics covered and the insight given could be relevant to you. I'm sorry that you didn't get a reading for September. I, had pretty much decided that I would no longer release videos on YouTube just because they don't get a lot of views. And I know that seems a bit silly, but when you're devoting time to something and putting your energy into it, you want to feel as though you're being heard. And I can be honest about that very human response or very human conclusion that I came to. But I received a couple donations and some very kind words came with those donations that motivated me to keep going. Just when I was convinced that it was all falling on deaf ears and that it wasn't helpful, it's almost like I discovered it at, right when I had decided to quit. And if you're one of the people who wrote me, I just want you to know that I really appreciate you. And the donations aside and the money aside, like the cash is great, sure, but that reassurance to know that it was helpful and appreciated is why I'm still here and why I'm releasing another video. Thank you. If what we talk about here doesn't make a whole lot of sense to you, I'd say give this another watch, give this reading another chance in about a month or two. It may make more sense then. I've noticed with my videos that they have about a 1.5 to 2 month maturity date. You may find that what we talk about is more relevant a couple months from now. That being said, let's get into your read. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. The responsibility you bear is you have a lot on your plate. And I'm also hearing, if you've ever watched Law and Order, you know how they have this intro where it's like in the criminal justice system, crimes that are especially heinous, and it's giving SVU, it's giving Special Victims Unit. So you may be a Law and Order fan, but let's talk about that for a moment. Are we really victims of circumstance, or are we victims of the circumstances that we create. There's a book that I oftentimes go back to by James Allen called As a Man Thinketh. It's a very light read, it's not a very long book. It's also available as an audiobook. You can find it here on YouTube. And if you don't go watch, or if you don't go listen to that audiobook, or if you don't read it, I can just summarize it for you. And the whole the author's purpose is to get you to understand that your circumstances are, there is a direct trackable relationship between your circumstances, where you are in life, with what you think and how your mind works, and how you view your circumstances and how you think about yourself and what you're capable of. Your thoughts become beliefs, and those beliefs become actions, and those actions have repercussions. And because it all starts within your mind and how in control you are of that, if you're looking for someone to blame, find a mirror, because it starts with you. So when we talk about, special victims, and when we talk about this idea of victimhood, we must always look at ourselves and look at our lives and really ask ourselves, be honest with ourselves about whether or not we are actually victims, or are we, did we do this to ourselves? And that's true not just for negative outcomes, and that's true not just for the bad situations we find ourselves in, or the, not just when we're faced with fires that we have to put out, but it's also true when it comes to the successes and the things that we take credit for and the hard work that we have actually done. You have to be fair. That's what the Justice card is about. You have to be objectively fair. You have to be objectively real, objectively honest. And if there is any indication that you have had a role to play, or that you have had a hand in what is happening to you, then you have to take ownership of those decisions you made, and you have to take responsibility for them. It's good to do that. It's wise to do that. It's that kind of responsibility that leads to growth, that leads to expansion, and my intention is not to lecture you. But I stress this because we live in a time when, everyone is so happy. Everyone feels as though they've been wronged. And we need more people looking at how they got to where they are. We need more people looking at the why behind it, and why things are unfolding the way that they are. I know. They led you to believe one thing, but it was actually another. And for those of you who feel as though you've been lied to, and I think that there's a group of you out there who feel as though you're victims, right? Because you acted on bad information, you acted on what you were told. It's important to remember that you still had a choice. And the thing about due diligence is that it's up to you to do. You have to do the fact checking. So yeah, someone might have been dishonest. But did you fact check? Did you ask the right questions? Did you examine their intentions? Were you honest about whether or not it was in your capacity to deliver? Did you set yourself up to overpromise and underdeliver because you weren't honest with yourself about what you could do or what you could follow through on? We have to hold ourselves to a higher standard. It's all coming back to you, and this is good. It's really important that you connect the dots around this time and that you track. Sometimes life forces you to calm down. And it's during those times that we need it the most, where we need to take a look at what has been happening in order to course correct. So there is an opportunity here to, who who are you really mad at? Who are you really upset with? Are you upset with the people who you felt like should have been there for you? Are you upset at the people who are, your perception is that they're doing better than you? Or are you going to recognize their innocence and recognize the fact that you made choices? Are you going to see your own value and identify with that? And what if you don't think that you're a high value individual? What if you feel as though you don't have a lot to work with? You're wrong. We have unlimited potential. And where you are in life is a culmination of the choices you've made. You shouldn't covet what other people have or have any kind of grudge against them for doing better than you. That is a waste of time, and it's an exercise in futility. Instead, you should focus on your own garden. You should focus on what you have going on and what you can do. There may be something in the Sagittarius October reading for you. You're both Jupiter ruled, so it stands to reason that you may be experiencing something similar. And just to follow that thought path a bit further, their whole thing was, dodging bullets. Their whole thing was making the right choice, or things not working out the way that they wanted it to, but it being for their betterment, or it being for their highest good in the long run. So I encourage you to think about that and entertain that particular possibility. You may be a bit down in the dumps, but what can you learn from these particular circumstances? How can you course correct and reinvest? It's the energy here is all about going to work. Look at that, this natural progression. And I have so much faith and every bit of confidence that you will be able to hold yourself accountable and go to work and do what you need to do to succeed, and do what you need to do to work on your self-esteem and work on your sense of security. But it's going to involve you consistently doing the right thing. It's going to involve you consistently making the right choices, the Lovers and the Seven of Cups. You cannot afford to pretend to be lost anymore. You cannot afford to, act like you don't know any better anymore when you do. You know everything. Being the 12th sign, there are 11 other lifetimes that have preceded you. You are all-encompassing. You are boundless. So to squander that and not see it for what it is and not value yourself and to compare yourself to other people and second guess your worth and second guess your value to the point that it makes you do irresponsible things is a recipe for disaster. And it's not something that you just don't do that to yourself. You are worthy. You're valuable. You know this. And I don't think you need me to tell you that. And it's really important that you see this good about yourself and that you see the ways in which you are talented. Identify with these strengths you have and stop comparing yourself to other people. Your task in life is to be the best version of yourself and to focus on your karma. And that has been that's the demon you need to slay. We're only as, capable as we think we are. We're as small as we think we are. We're as ill-prepared or incapable as we think we are. It starts with you and it ends with you. So watch what your mind is doing. And I feel like if you can do that, you'll find that the ideas in which you can better your life will start to flow. There will be this outpouring, and you'll be able to recognize multiple paths that you can take to success. But you have to get out of this down in the dumps mentality, and I don't think that you really believe that about yourself. I just think that you maybe see how it's working out really well for other people, whatever it is about, or you maybe see, how someone else's life is going and you compare it to your own. But we all have demons, so that's the first thing you need to understand. We all have a cross to bear, and it's hard for everybody. Your cross is not any heavier. It feels just as drastic. It feels just as hard for all of us, whatever it is. So you need to focus on yourself and focus on your own life. Focus on your own choices. Focus on your own truth. And start with that and work with that. And watch how your life will change. I hope this helped. If you're looking for more content, I encourage you to check out the Way Out podcast. We are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can find it by searching The Way Out, followed by my first name, Tyson. Until next time.